Anje chedan zogi chonama chanchu parto dani kyapsa bhage jinso yebe chonamgi dola penjre sangye nubaraso sangye chedan zogi chonama chanchu parto dani kyapsa bhage jinso yebe chonamgi dola penjre sangye nubaraso Sangye chedan soki chonamba chanchu pardo dani kyabsunche bhage jinso yebe chonamgi dola penjire sangye nru barasho simchen tamche dewa tang devi yud dembara kirche simchen tamche dungal dang dungal ye gyudang chawara simchen tamche dungal mebe dewa tang mindrawara Samjan Damje Nirin Chadan Yidanta Panyamla Nepara Kuruchi Samjan Tamje Devi Yudan Dembara Kurchi Samjan Tamje Dungal Dungal Ye Yudan Tawara Samjan Tamje Dungal Mebe Dewa Dam Mindawa Samjan Tamje Nirin Chadan Yidanta Panyamla Nepara Kuruchi Samjan Tam Dewa dan dewe gyu dan dembara gyu. Semjen damje dungal dan dungal ye gyu dan tawara gyu. Semjen damje dungal mebe dewa dan mindawa. Semjen damje nirin chadan nidan taw. Panyamla nebara gyuru je. Semjen damje dewa dewe gyu dan dembara gyu je. Semjen damje dungal dan dungal ye Tawara Gyuji, Samjen Damje, Dunga Meb, Dewa Dan, Mindawara Gyuji, Samjen Dam, Nirin, Chadan, Nidan, Panyamla, Nebara Gyuji, Sajbi Oji, Chuji, Mento, Jiravali, Sangye Jindu Midimbu Dugananda Jinlai Chivarajo Idamang Guru Rana Mandala Kanya Ataya Ami.
Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground spread with incense, adorned with strewn flowers, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha land, and by offering it to you, may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Thus, meeting the teaching of the peerless teacher is due to the spiritual mentor's kindness. I dedicate this virtue for all living beings to be cared for by excellent spiritual friends. Niram Guru Radna Mandala Kam Niryata Yami.
Ange dojingi zongwa tawa tamje tombe chere tombe chini tonze be kodam te la cha sa lo. Ya da sangi chumden de yapsin jalwen doze de. De do za chimbore za chumden de tene karsum dozana. Kurumi님 kurue님이 통해나 협배심네 rab도 케스. 감숨 저런지 집에 준비 심기 본వర్자 제가 숨도 다 제자나 가르치고 그러잖아 맞죠 즉 휴심이하다 코로발에 견도 통과 말와 코로발에 견도 통하이나 아니 휴심증들한지 게임 그랬다 오늘와 코로에니 다 코로와 코로와싱인데 레당 요무베 조한도 교베 다 자제기 풍보데 아니 치두된 치 코로와즈나 내가 말한죠 네세네들이 이 강기 찬을 타바이나 오늘 직코 견지마다 대단한 상배인든지 배 카브레 인규란다 제가 덴디기 감숨 코로와 다 치느낀지 된다 나 주지 심진 간데지나 감숨 더 감숨에 간데지나 저라르지 통이나 저는 르닌덕인지 수지 용거 말아
가리 용기 요
전라 정강은 르닌덕인 수지 용 말아 미남저진지 민녀바 있는 수가로 센타마메나 kok하게 왔다 된다와지게 에네페 디 전라르지 감숨 코로와다 전라르지 통이나 에네 첸딜레 전차지니 유벤저 사야레 체질리 전차지니 다지 담년다 저야레 대치불라 에니베 좀바텐디지 용 지금 말했어 덴데글라니 좀바제야 센데 라신게 에니베 가르고 방국레스 순거래 다코 리데 고 젬보레 리초야게 저희 둥긴지도 걸어와 리초야게 저게 둥긴지도 걸어와 하부 태바 시부더니 왜요 말해서 순거래 돈 다들이
And so the Buddha has said in the meeting of Father and Son Sutra that if one sees the shortcomings of samsara, utter disenchantment will be born. This terrifying prison of the three realms, one must strive in concerted effort to abandon it. And so here we are. In samsara, and now what should we do? And what's very important that we do is that we become weary of samsara, that we become disenchanted with samsara. However, that won't come about if we don't see the miscomings and faults of samsara. Without seeing the problems and faults of samsara, we won't feel like it's any problem at all to have a samsaric existence. And therefore, disenchantment, weariness with this existence won't arise. But if we can see the shortcomings and problems of having a samsaric existence, meaning born in cyclic existence due to our karmas and afflictions, due to these influences cycling in a worldly existence. And actually, other than being problematic in a very worldly existence, there are no other good qualities to be found. As it says in this prison, terrifying prison of the three realms. So really, no matter where wandering beings, wherever one takes birth in the three planes of existence, be it the desire realm, the form realm, or the formless realm, It is merely like being imprisoned at the hand of those guards in the prison, where there is no happiness to be found. When we're imprisoned, this is not a happy state. And actually, this is just like a prison, no matter what kind of position we may have gained, whatever kind of wealth and possessions we may have gained. Actually, these do nothing but bind us. This is our bondage, actually. And if we don't see this, actually, then, as it says in this last line, making concerted effort to abandon it won't arise. And so we actually must create disenchantment with samsara and make good effort to abandon it. Now, while we are living in a samsaric existence, there are things that we need. We do need accommodations and we do need provisions and so forth. But what this is saying here is that we should be abandoning any kind of clinging attachment to any of these things, to any of these samsaric things. Simply get what we need, but not any extra, and be very sure to abandon any clinging attachment.
다 균도 영웅생들라 균도 다야. 디왕 좀 레디기 맞아 동안 징기여 봐대. 뭐차야 보지 트야 버도 배 삼로 nem부 당고 거래. 배 미시바 삼 당고 거래.
가래
영웅로 균도 다 영웅 좀 랭안 빠지어 와. 디기 동안 징기여 봐대. 뭐차 초거 안 줄라. 라초 거래. 라초 버도 삼로 야보 당 거래. 디지 라지 트이나 동안 생인데 코 카지기여 봐지. 통그러와.
Oh, conduct, that's Che song, and Dralwa Che song. Yang care check song.
동안 생인데 탑 해요 밤 때는 매야 차예요 봐지 통이나 아니 동안 때라 돈은 제기 삼르지 코르고와. 페미스베 쳔버려 균도 삼로당 양양도 삼로당에 돼. 살지 퇴바 잠지 팽겨와 말해.
Yes.
양양도 삼로당 아니 디버제 도스제데 페미스베 쳔버려 예스.
So we've mentioned this karma and afflictions, that actually it is under the power of karma and afflictions that we are circling in this samsaric existence. And we must constantly think about the fact that negative emotions, afflicted mental states, and the karmas that then ensue from them are problematic for us. This is not something desirable. And it's very, very important that we always think about this, constantly think about this, mull it over all the time, because it is due to the karma that we create that it will proliferate actually until we meet the suffering experience from that cause of this negative karma. And it just continues to proliferate in that way. And so there is no end to suffering until we put an end to suffering. And we ourselves must do that. And if we don't kind of backtrack and see the cycle and see why it's problematic for us in our lives, then we'll just put up with it and we will continue on in this way. So the progression that needs to happen is we need to examine this, see the negative mental states, see how they are at fault and are of no benefit, and then we can further progress to put an end to it. But we have to again and again think about it, because simply thinking about that once and then just putting it down, not thinking about it again, actually will not get us where we need to get. It's not terribly beneficial.
그래서 되는지 중이나 되니 그러라 다 가르쳐래. 견도 통하지 더 동al 타지기요 바지 통하이나 되니 취제라 무슨 제를 추체 용으로 와. 대마당 알아서 미망 보지게 배 대 니리 기버지 사제 점바지 기버지 맨로 양 사제 대 너네 기버지 맨로 세대 경우다 대용해요 말해 그러니 인치젤라 그렇게 때문에 대화나면 여만 인세 도템 방녀잖아 좀 된데 도템 방녀자 도템 방녀를 잡아 되나 그렇게 때문에 그렇신들 네 진짜 카피 때문에 버는지레스 카피 때문에 되나 중얼마도 대화용하기 대화가요 말아 인디가라타 되게 삼당과도 미스겠지 뭐래.
And this is really the case if we think about it, that, you know, this samsaric existence is nothing but full of pain and misery and full of shortcomings. And unless we come to see that, we will not make concerted effort to abandon it, really strive in the practice to abandon it. So first we absolutely must acknowledge the shortcomings of samsara. And it said in the application of mindfulness sutra, the Buddha has said that being in samsara is like staying on the tip of a sharp needle. While you're staying on the tip of a sharp needle, there's not a bit of pleasure and comfort to be found. And actually that's exactly what it's like in samsara. And if some might say, oh, isn't it nice over there? What do you mean there's no happiness to be found in samsara? Isn't that place, you know, over there, you know, that other place, it's really nice over there, or maybe this place is really nice, but actually there's no real happiness to be found in samsara. It is really like staying on the tip of a sharp needle.
그래서 말하면서 재미라 집에 도지 숨도아. 로아칸도 했던 힘에 베스. 로아칸 가바키나 기부요 말레스. 힘에 베스. 성로 타지 전에 지지담지 주스던 로스. 다 율기 차니 내기 차니 다내 가바지케나 그러네 인드가라 또 기부 균이요 말레스 가바지케나 라율레케난다 루율레케난다 미율레케난다 다 기부 균이요 말레스 다 수수원이 신디 아니베 신디라 아니 밀루아지 신디 생인데 템포 매아지 미다바인 바지 통 치마 생인데 부야는 뭐
Quando ti milua dang ani tak tempa mepa.
No tempa mepa.
And
midaba imba thong sindide. Midaba imba thong. Se chima singde be pugyang mo imba. Tenan sangi kopang singde susukula dengyu baji thonga ina. Oh, ta sangi kopa tu du zade loda che da ta dembar zimbe denzin de da ranche ber zimbe jinjingila pet ka kyundu tane. 견도타네 로다 쳐버지 좋아이나 얘니 장주기 셈고나 얘니 동기도를 타와래 냠는제 장주기 셈고나 얘니 최 간데지잖아 류기 류징구결에 셈기 마저레 간데지잖아 얘니 찌찌 탐지 취소로 그래 벤지 야보도와 말한서 삼당 거라 이 밀라레 뭐 이제봐 코란 샌딜라페 가징유리지데 세질라 상기 고방 뚝뚝은 땐데 파고 첨부지 차디어로 와. 냠용순 거로 와. 맞서서는 냠용지 딜린 루제요 말에. 땐데 디가라 밀레제베 숭트서 야네 양도 삼당나 개침부도 왔어.
And so, therefore, that being the case, then the great yogi Jetsun Milarepa has said that wherever wandering beings are born, since happiness does not exist, be resolute in your conviction that your every action becomes the practice of the Dharma. And so what's really important here to focus on is making the firm resolve, an absolutely firm resolve. And as it says in the first line, wherever wandering beings, wherever sentient beings take birth, wheresoever that is, there is no lasting happiness to be found. In whatever realm and whatever place, be it the God realms, the Naga realms, or the human realms, there is no lasting happiness. And what one can do, though, is one can look at what we do have at hand. We have this very life, the life that we now have established. And just like Milarepa has said, there is no happiness wherever you're born. There's no stability in this life. It is constantly in the nature of change. And this life is impermanent. It will soon turn into the next life. And so therefore, we should make the firm resolve, the concerted firm resolve to accomplish the level of Buddhahood. And if we do make firm resolve, we can accomplish the lasting state of Buddhahood. And we do that through the practices that help us cut through our clinging to any kind of ego clinging and self-cherishing. Practice those things that help us cut through any clinging to a true reality in this existence. And that's exactly what Jetsun Milarepa had done, actually. He took the very life that he had, and so it's said that we do those things, as it says in the last line, that do in whatever one's action, every action one has in this life, make sure that it becomes the practice of the Dharma. And that's just what Jetsun Milarepa did. Actually, he swiftly gained accomplishment in one body, in one life. He had conviction and bravely set forth. And what Jetsun Milarepa did that we don't yet have is really completely immersing ourselves in the experience to gain the experience. And so that's what we need to do. So that one's every action becomes the practice of Dharma.
Gopa jiwa kyanum lagedwa. Gopa zungal tenni pane painzang gopa chagrwa. Ti zungal pambe ti tani jiwa ji. That's similar. Halibe renyam ji kigore. Ti into galata nyumo mapam pardo ta jiwa ngone similar renyam ngone de dewa ngumati legyo mata. Maso koroe nangide dewa de. Dewa pe zungal garim ge dewa ngon samjire. Berna trogol tona khazana kibuj trogo jani kibuj surgorwa. Kanche trogo ngamal to de ti zungal de ga samji ti dewa ngumbar mato dewa ngonne marwa yang kyur ku chuso khashini yang kyur le yungdo. Ta sam 되게 samlo yabodang ro maso. Maso America jalkap top chemboda rede ina chik samdela pe Yalkapke Zomitubia Zungaltani laying Udoa.
Kare?
Yalkapke Sel Mitubiake. Dungal.
Oh, la so
Tendi Udoa. Tendi One Dungal Tezula Samdana. Dungal Mena Ninju Mezalare. Chunjunala. Dungal the Samata in a career. Dungal Tele Tandogi Samuj Kurgura. The Tandogis, the Tarsimeganjis Ina. Tini Dungal Samata Dujon Kebayom Pendoyo Mare. Dungal Samutane, Dungal Tela Trayagi, Tablamji, 10 Tingua, Jumden de Tendiore. They temper the Nazumocha Turbaina, Maranzoli Keban Dragdoa, Su Samtana. They get chamber to town.
So many of the great masters have spoken in the texts, in the stages of the path text, the scriptures that outline the full stages of the path, that actually there is the only happiness we have in samsara that it's not true happiness. We experience it as happiness when we temporarily alleviate our sufferings. But actually, without the true practice of the path, we won't experience any true happiness, real happiness. What we do is we experience a temporary cessation of suffering. And we will not be able to attain any true and real happiness in samsara. We simply experience small episodes and time frames when our suffering has temporarily subsided. For example, when you're really, really hungry, it's actually, you have hunger pains, and it can be very painful, actually. So, you're not feeling, happy. And then you eat, and you feel good, and you feel happy, and you feel satiated and satisfied, and all is well. But not really, because that's not lasting happiness, because actually, after a few hours, that same feeling begins to arise again, and one is hungry again, and one needs to eat again. And so that is not lasting happiness. And also, even though we live here in America, a very, very powerful country, when we're having problems and suffering and pain and misery and difficulties within our lives, even though we live in a very powerful country, this powerful country, our government, cannot solve this for us. It cannot help us in this way. And so we do experience many pains and miseries, difficulties in this life, but we must look to them so that they are the impetus for us to create a disenchantment and a renunciation with worldly things and worldly existence. Because otherwise, if we just go through this suffering and suffer, we have this pain and misery, but there's no benefit, actually. There's no profit. This really can't, in the end, be a silver lining in the black cloud. So what we should do at times of difficulty and suffering is find ways, actually, to practice with it in a way that suffering ends up establishing our own happiness. And this is something that the Buddha directly taught and directly said, that we should use our own suffering to create happiness.
Gosung yaboji, Sosogone, Treden yaboji, Gosung yaboji, any me
Gosum
me Soso Tredenda, Mungo, Mungo
la so di.
Minjere Mingoyake. Dentro Yabuchua the pen Mississippi Chimbori. Any similar culture to Tronanglia, any Tajania got to Samatan, Janjuki Semgi Pine to Samatan. Any two shed any similar Tronang Levina, Luigi Carsore Pagi, Lusung the Diarwa, Lusung Yak Nubajore. Tinyamgumare. The Manana, Nazan Guayali, Kagayore. She was Kachambori. And in Gomgana, Pembudu, Tanda Popia Amchigan Sungudula, Tanda with Council and David Richisangi, Shivuji, Gomgad, the ticket to sit, this huge pengi to sit. Then the Sundua. What are they doing? You got around to Telegram.
Ani Geshe Raptu Chango Denso ki Gomgya.
Ramtu Chungo Markanga, Maran to Kanga.
Oh, Lasso.
Raptu Chung Majung Tamjage, Wom Kazo Susu, Pazo the Timbe, Joy Kuzu Gomgan, and it's Temba the Shijin Yabu, Yundu Temba the Shijin Tanya, the Shewa, the Missiva Ketchimboris. Ketchimin in Chimbore. Womi on the Temba Shijin Zungu Mandana, Wom. Zing the Oya Kabore, Shijing Charaja, any chingo lemale, Tangende, Shijinche, any tembe, any be, Miti lion, and Yanker, Tembe, Miti Gala Yanker Jaya, Dusche, the Pemis, Yanyandu, Womla Dusche, what the Pemis will catch him chadi or is. And Yundu Wom Gadan, and in Chick, Tezo, Bezujero is.
The Wisconsin gi Korla Yapo go to Mas.
Wisconsin gi. And David Richardson Yarwa, neuroscience, Kungi, or the Lotakanga, Wom Tiki to Sigua.
Oh, okay.
Wom Tiki, Lusung Yargen to see.
Oh, Lasso. Yeah. So now at this time, at this point, period in time, there is a worldwide catastrophe, really. With the pandemic. And it's very, very important that we do for ourselves what we need to take the precautions and to prevent our own health and our own physical situation to decline, because if our own physical health declines, actually then we're at risk for getting sick as well. So it's very, very important that we do what we need to do to eat good food and get rest and so forth. Really watch our physical hygiene. And so watch out physically, but also mentally. We should always remember to have a mind of bodhicitta, a mind of wholeheartedly caring about all others in our world, and also carrying with it the wisdom of the view of emptiness, and really watching our minds, so that we continue to have a devoted interest in those attitudes of the spiritual path, like bodhicitta and emptiness. And that's very, very important, those factors, because they really lead to our vitality, the physical vitality. And this is a very, very important point, because one doesn't want to lose one's physical vitality. It's actually one of the things that really keeps you vital, protects your body. So that's very, very important. And actually within the Tibetan medical community, this is a point that that is brought up. And also even here within the US, we have this mind science, the neuroscience society out in Wisconsin, where this group actually train and teach meditation and the benefits of meditation. They work with students in the area. teaching meditation. And actually, we should all be doing this, whether really meditating and watching our mind, really being very well aware of of your mental life, not just your physical life, but your mental life, what's happening with that. And that's so, so important. And especially important is we need to train in learning to be mindful, which means to keep focus, to have really keep your mind steady and focused and calm and still, but also to employ the factor of vigilance. And vigilance is really important. It's like the watchful eye that sees what's happening in your meditation. If you don't have these two factors, vigilance and mindful focus, then you don't have what's called meditation, because it is that observer, it is that watchful eye of vigilance that it's to see, has your meditation become too dull? Is your mind distracted? Is it wandering? So you need that aspect to watch over, and then constantly when it notices, so you've noticed that you have wandered or you've become too dull, then you place your mind back to your focus and you keep replacing it back whenever you notice it wandering. And so this is really, something that you should make sure you have in your meditation practice, and actually have a regular meditation practice. We should all be regularly meditating, and also regularly, constantly being aware of what's going on in one's mind.
가르쳐오래. 단다 삼된 리오칼라 또 균여사데 란 제번집에 란 진진들 균여고 하래. 딜 균여네 디베 딜 균여고 가래. 디게 맞아 마리발레 녀몽게 녀몽도 피타로 당는데 란 진진들 기지거와. pe pita potangore sidar mason tane pita tane pe chiti cheda ran chinjin chigore cheza ran chinjin da mari pani gi ta karsore jalka gi sinjin ranjun na jinchene pe nyamto lega chene ngaron so dubuti gorwa cheza songi to bel tawate gi mari bakhe bachene mari ba me asogen Any Chanchuki Sem de Ranchinzi match the Chanchuki Sem the Jen Chinzin Gisem derwa. The Jen Chinzin is Semiona, Ranchinzin Ranching Kedora, match Hadora. The Kebandua. Chazan, the Indugala, Kache, Chanchuki Sem the Tonyer Yogenji, Ranchinzin Shu, Shu Chumbu, Vaduzum, Deepe Chindeena, Tangaldu Legdoa.
Karilapkiri?
장주기 쌤 칸일랍 란친진도 뢰 땅마투나 칸일랍하다 디니 따다 내기민도 와시
Oh, that's so.
빼면서 깨지 버리지 아 다음에 또 베셔랍데 류구반에 숨게다 다음에 또 베셔랍데기 머리 빙님 보지 아 류게반에 셰베 아니베 장주기 쌤 다진 장주기 쌤데기 란체 브른즈베 란친진기 And
so in our text, we've been looking at the eighth chapter on meditative concentration, where these verses where we find ourselves now are focusing on the self-cherishing and immature attitude and why it is harmful, and that we should recognize it and acknowledge actually that it is not a positive quality, that this is something that is very harmful for us. And so Out of the state of ignorance, our afflictive emotions arise. Afflictive emotions all stem from self-clinging. We have afflictive emotions because we are coming from the perspective of a self, and not only the perspective of a self, but actually cherishing that self very tightly, becoming very narrow-minded in a way that there's no room for anything else. And so it is out of ignorance, basically, that this self-cherishing comes. And then we find ourselves in many predicaments. We have ignorance and afflictions and self-cherishing. But with the mind of bodhicitta, the mind of bodhicitta is the direct opposite of self-cherishing. It's other cherishing. And so when we're other cherishing, then with bodhicitta, if we're other cherishing, then we have cut apart self-cherishing. But if we want to abandon and cut off self-cherishing, but we're not willing to place our focus on others, to actually consider others that are outside of ourselves more important, then this will not act as the remedy. This will not act as the antidote. And so within the practices, what we do is we work with these remedies or these antidotal mind states because they counteract the unfavorable mind states. So it is the wisdom that realizes emptiness that is the antidote to our ignorance. And it is the mind of bodhicitta, the altruistic attitude, the focus on others, that acts as the antidote to self-cherishing.
와다 덴디 니가라 땅가서 윤도 삼다나 냐면 제야데 동니도벨 타와단 잔주기 셈니 까고야데 란지 마리바 렘버즈비 덴진테당 란체 버즈비 진진딩이다 맞아 껴경거들에서 삼 뒤금도 때 삼 콘데이나 되니 냐면 제야들아 두슈지레고라 동니도벨 타와데당 잔주기 셈라 두슈레그레 또알레네나 때 동년은 베진체야기 고갑란 그래 때 시부지 다쳐 거다 어좀 벤다마서나 때 견경권등이 못하지진 대네베 대 매버서근등이 강임바더니 못하지 쳐베이나 셈라지 레기로와 시부지 개침보 차디었다 땡고 뭐좀 못자 쳐고다 뱀매 시부 개침보래
Now to talk about inspiration and making effort and that which eradicates these two. We understand that what eradicates ignorance and self-cherishing are the view of emptiness and the practice and the mind of bodhicitta. And so we have these two that we need to eliminate, this self-clinging and ignorance on one side and self-cherishing on the other side. And actually these are the direct antidotes to those two. If you work to establish the view of emptiness, realize emptiness, and practice bodhicitta, this is what eliminates ignorance and self-clinging, or ignorance and self-cherishing. And so knowing that it is simply practicing these two, we will be inspired actually to practice them because we know that these are the very methods to employ, the practices to employ to eliminate these undesirable mental states. And so actually then naturally we will want to practice them. Naturally we will want to really strive and make effort. But otherwise we may not strive and make effort. So first of all, we need to see why these are faulty, why these are harmful mental states. Once we see that they're faulty and we know what practices to employ to eliminate them, we'll be really inspired to do that. And that's really very, very important because the inspiration to engage in the practice.
다 실로가 니 사슴바들이 그상 이 사니바들 셋하면 사슴바들 다 실로가 니 사슴
you know, so many different scenarios there, but basically that's it. They're very, very narrow-minded and very much caught up with themselves. And it's said that with these people that are so difficult to please that we should not keep their company. And now in the text, it says, people scorn the poor who have no wealth. They also criticize the rich who have it. What pleasure can derive from keeping company with people such as these, so difficult to please? And so people that are very worldly and narrow-minded, kind of caught up in materialistic self-concern, will look at other people, that, and maybe they themselves have a lot of wealth and position, then they look down upon people who don't. Oh, you know, they, you know, don't, you know, they will just put down people who, you know, aren't of means, and so they put them down. And then they see people who may have wealth and means and position, and actually all they do is find fault in this too, and criticize what exactly they do have or how they have achieved it. Actually, whatever perspective they're, you know, in either of these cases, all it is coming from a very narrow-minded perspective that's really all about themselves.
대부분의 가서 냠냠데 따다 숨도와 그런서 마가사지라 애니베 유메이나 수수 마가 유전디제네 오 코스나 메레 뭐 가서 게나 갈레게나 요마라 코다 요마르제 메라지 땅도와 에 수수 마가지레 유벤지라나 코데 에베 가르소레 로소지 템바레 니 코이 애니베 송 되는 거걸 시부지 밀랑 거걸 시부지 따니 그 유타야 부마를 요 말을 야메라지 땅도 디카레 가서 제한테 따가라 진이 용도
So in our own experience, we can actually see this. We can see people who do this. They take a stance on things to, especially when they don't like the person, they're going to find fault one way or another, whether someone is you know, doesn't have so much to their name, or whether they do. For the, you know, if they don't like someone, then they're going to say, oh, look at them, they, you know, they have no merit, they haven't worked their way up the ladder, and, you know, they're a nobody. And on the other side, there might be someone who has done all that, but still, because they don't like them, they complain and criticize them about how they went about actually gaining that wealth. Oh, they were just really sly and they were cheating and tricking people. That's how they got where they were, and they criticize them. So one way or the other, you know, these people will find fault, people that are very narrow-minded. So we should also guard ourselves from these, you know, these positions and these mental attitudes. Really watch what's happening in our own minds to make sure we're also not doing that.
So lamrim sungwen lama tesu tesungdo nal chela dapu menna riril ula obgelji kyo yung se sungdo nal chele
Oh, la so.
Kanja manjushene keta mambuchune ni nyepa pogorwa.
Yapo go to my song on that.
Nandal chela dapu mena.
Yeah.
Riril ula objekjikyo yonse.
Ula kareyo?
Go nyetara gorwa.
Oh, la so, la so.
Kane kanju manjushe yo mares.
Oh, la so, la so.
Kane kanju manjushe na nipe timpo nyepa suso kyun kongure lare.
So also within the Lam Rim text, there is a quote that speaks about this, that says, if you have a loose tongue, then someone is going to smack you on the head. And what that means is, if you just go about just kind of flapping your tongue and saying all kinds of things, without throwing caution to the wind, about others, then actually people are going to find fault in this and it's going to come back at you.
Wata shologa nishtabji batagi tatagiti gyapten sungwar gyapten. Wata tere te shijengo baase. Kanchi chipa rangden nis chipa sidugala samlo pustopo ranchipo samtan legendela chipa sidi. Nepra gawa minjung jins katui na ko it simbajida doba khanji katui ni yo marela bare tila. Ma chi majung nga ni majung la mado tila nga ndi sung se yong mdo. Dembare doa. Chibanga sheminjing teji shiba namgi sungs ti imbada ene jamden de sung res namken gulanga de tak noray yongya yomarwa
Karela norio mare?
namken gule yo genjila norsig marwa.
Oh, la so. Yeah.
Chaza teji shiba namgi sungs.
And then verse number 24 continues to speak about this. It's actually supporting the point that was made in verse number 23. And and it reads, "In kindness, childish beings take no delight." And again, childish here means immature, selfish, narrow-minded, self-concerned, all that we've been talking about. Unless, and that's true, people like this, really tight, really rigid, they're not joyful, they're not happy, they're never happy. They're, always finding fault, they're never happy unless their own desires are satisfied. But actually, this also doesn't come about very easily either, because people like this, they might, and I'm sure you'll know this by your own experience. They'll say, oh, I just need one. And they get one. Oh, I need two. Oh, that's enough. Oh, no, maybe more is enough. When do they ever say, oh, perfect, that's just perfect, now all is good? They don't, because it's always something else. A childish person is thus no true friend. This the Tathagatas have declared. And so really they can't be a true friend to you due to all of these things being so tight that there is no room for anything else but really themselves. And here it points out that the Tathagatas, which means the Buddha, has declared this, and the Buddha, all-knowing and omniscient, is unmistaken.
Tsindizama chima penjele payagi tuntayabu jilabina and be conjua pajajo druntigano chadanki kundruki grace.
Karegi korlachak
Chugi tunda shena colon payale trumpe kundruki grace tendepe some pusu tobu yendegandala.
Oh lasso.
Ani number the pane tendi yonede taku Tindi samlu pusu topo teke jibe samlu teke jebare jiba teke. Te sumdo ate, pe misi tata redo ate. Mi ngana zo pensam punelane ji labi na, kona le pule penya ji labi na, samdil nao mara yungu do miti. Di kui ranchin samlu teke jebarwa. Di pe misi ba nga zo, nga zo Ranchin samlo yung kanga yung gorta, nga zonga yung gore.
And then in the Lamplight Sutra, actually this is, the Buddha also spoke about this. Ani tangpo, ani tsikang tangpo, gondak.
Tsikang tangpo dire, susikyonin zawamel. Zawam me chedan de si ta manayang imichijing jedang chowata ngomberto bani chibeles.
Oh lasso, yeah. And so that said, to selfish immature beings have very, very few friends. Speak to them about the Dharma and they will have no faith, have no trust. Not only that, it brings them to anger. And so people who are very childish in their attitudes, very self-serving, others don't want to be around them. And so actually, they don't have a lot of friends. People don't enjoy being around them. And because they're really very attached to the wealth and possessions, material things, and worldly concerns that they are established in, when you speak to them about the Dharma, it actually makes them very angry. They have no trust and belief in it. Not only that, it makes them angry because they like their standpoint and they want to stand by it. So they have no room for the Dharma as well.
Yeah,
okay, let's take a little break here. We'll take 5 or 10 minutes, Geshe.
Yeah,
okay, is everyone back? So before Geshe starts, I wanted to say I typed into the chat box last week. Geshe had also given during the question and answer, Geshe talked about the signs of having listened to Dharma teachings, so having received Dharma teachings, and the signs of having meditated. So I typed that up and I just typed it into the chat box. It's just kind of short. And so I typed that in there. And also, I think there might have been one thing that I wanted to add if I didn't say it, because I can't remember if I did or didn't. But back when Geshe was saying that quote with Milarepa, and when he was speaking about how to make this life, like how to make sure all of our Dharma, all of our activities become Dharma activities, Geshe also said that along with this resolve to make everything, make all of our acts Dharma activities, what this comes down to is making sure that whatever we're doing has two components, and that is the mind of Bodhichitta and the wisdom of emptiness. We should, whenever we bring that into our experiences and our actions, then it becomes Dharma practice. So I couldn't remember if I said that or not, so I just wanted to add it.
Yeah, that Sholoka Nishu, Senga Padrawa. Tati, Tiganata, embating the pine, the shame water, embating the pine there, eta subject of Masonatam Yungre. That tango emba, Tamazo, Jinetubala emba matenant, negap Yonga Yomara. Or that they teach there. Ta ta Trochi, Neji, Soa Keb, Toby Kebraji, Miawi Kebraji, or the Tendigine, Kanji, Imbi Pine, Tishigore. Ta
Gonda Kishila, di drok dang.
Oh, ta
Kare sangpe, dinang la yogi marela.
Dinayomare.
Oh, la so young
Trochi, any ne, Saja. Any Soa, Mazukala Zayaki. Teni Susurto Pass, Digatate, Telayang Susurtopa Nase Sajamangure.
Sosotopa.
Sosurtopa, Lui Latin Chick Tajetang, any Trollotin Tajetang, the Neongore, Tati only Tuyungure.
Oh, lasso.
Any Miabrache, the subject not time with.
Oh, lasso.
Ta Trodala, Mondo Tibetan Dembe, Kepa, Jibatan, Roba Pani, Nasune Paasi. Ta Karzana, ta embassy digala, mi Mambikila emba Yunga Yomarwa. Ta embe need the carrier water, Natang, Rita, Chanamtang, Shina Minion, Jemicha, Drona the what the Taki, Namji Linchi, Tani Guru said that, Pe Chick. Tak Mendodikena Sungua, or that Tena Gentine, Kanji Chick Ridatang, Chatang, Shintere, Yang Ridagi, Dashu Chumbo Mesatene, Guguare. Minim Javameja, Tendizilla, Nepe, Ta Nekapchi, Nekap, and Nepe, Tendiji Tenet, any Saja Jinjambo, or that Tendiji Tengu, Gure.
No, lasso. Dodegenla.
Jenzenda, Tanda didn't dig at Sayate. Dodegena Tagarwa, and Rabor, Nintan, Ned Rabor, and Tunarangi, Lamichingi Lapajuare. Sagi Chingila Payana, Rangi Lamichingi, Nate Zuchina, and Chundadan, Lundadan, Tendemage, Jensengi Jipamesa, Tendiguare. Near the embassy. And if something to Devo, Tendiguare.
And so now in our next verse, we begin to look at the qualities of a place, a secluded place, to retreating to seclusion within our instructions on accomplishing calm abiding meditation. It said that actually we need to establish certain like certain points in order to be able to practice calm abiding, shamatha meditation. And one of them is to be in a secluded place. Actually, further on, we'll go through, there are 5 points, such as the place and the sustenance and taking care of one's body, and the support that one needs, like a helper and so forth. But those will be coming in a bit. But right now, at this point, is really talking about a secluded place. And this really needs to be a place where there are not a lot of people, for example. And now in the text on verse number 25, where it says, "In woodlands, haunt of stag and bird, among the trees where no dissension jars, It's there I would keep pleasant company. When might I be off to make my dwelling there? And so also some of these points are elaborated on in the ornament of the sutras. You can find out more about this there in that scripture as well. And so it's very important, for example, here it talks about the woodland haunt of stag and bird. So even when we go to a forest, it should be, if we go to a forest to meditate, it should be a place that doesn't have a lot of sound, not a lot of noise. It's a place where you will not hear other people's voices. So we should really need to rely on a very, very quiet and peaceful place for our meditation. And also the Buddha has mentioned that in his instructions, saying that the place where we take up to practice meditation matters, because if we want to accomplish calm abiding meditation, then we need to actually establish the right place to do that. And here, you know, when it's a very quiet place, it will be easy for us to meditate. Yeah. So more about that, and another point that Geshe also mentioned, that the forest that we do find, like this quiet, natural place, should be free of any fierce animals. And it should be somewhere where there's not a lot of people gathering, people coming together. So whenever you have a group of people coming together, then there are going to be like debating and dispute and back and forths and so forth. And this is something we want to avoid. We really want it to be free of these animals, as it says here, of wild animals and birds. It should be very, very, very quiet. One should be alone by oneself.
Pukam lakang tongbatang pu sede tapu yani sapu tambao the yongora tapu.
Oh, laso.
Kepa. What that is.
Sapu sana kari.
Tapu sana.
No, tapu hako song, you know, sapu.
Sapunes sadong yorwa.
Oh, laso.
Kanji susun de tuyaji.
Oh, laso.
In Junshin tundu nete. Namji ke tu miltajing chapa me per ngurjing gu. Sajo da ke zungame ranjing ke ne yang namsu rawang chochi cha me par namji tane ne par ki ruse wada te pe susula ta pe ugom ge gi ta pe dangem badang choan wada tenji ke saja karina lagang tomba karina digres juna sus te sungora yundu sungora juna rangel tombene tombadang lama cha chembo tende gom japsaina mutuknye nye la gore ema jona rang chawe lama ne japcha ne chinlepche ne yante mutuknye nye la gore
okay
ne chidane shingdung sidala jonshin tende gala yo la gom jende yorwa ne den shingdung bas yongwa wata tende
And so that was the first point in terms of establishing, beginning to set up our situation for successful meditation. And the first point basically was to be away from busyness, to be situated alone away from noise and busyness. And the second point with which we have the support here in verses 26 and 27, I speak about the place, and as it says in our text, when shall I depart to make my home in cave or empty shrine or under the spreading tree? Within my breast a free unfettered heart which never turns to cast a backward glance. When might I abide in such a place unclaimed and ownerless, that's wide and unconfined, a place where I might stay at liberty without attachment? And so here it says cave. And what this means, we have different kind of classifications or kinds of caves. Sometimes it's like a rock dwelling, inside a rocky cliff, a cave in a rocky cliff. But it can also be like under an earth embankment or in an earthen cave, a hollowed out place in the side of a hill or so forth. It could be made of earth as well. And these are always good places to retreat to, but also, and Geshe had mentioned this in his last point, and I forgot to mention it, that one of the places that is favorable for meditation can also be any place that is a blessed place from the Buddhas or past masters, any place of pilgrimage, any place that contains the Buddha's blessings or the past master's blessings are also very favorable places to meditate. And here he brings up that point as well, that if we can find a place that has been blessed by the practice of the Buddha or the past masters, for example, when we read about the life stories of the masters, it often will list the name of their cave and the place. And these are places of pilgrimage, but also places that places that one can go and practice. And those are also very favorable places to go to practice.
니수 섭게 받아. 소위 개발도 시고 소화 되니까 대승고래. 다 고쿠여베 잘라지마도 뉴뉴지마도 망보고 말했으되. 논제라서 녀체 당스. 군라메고 괴창진. 륜디 뻥을 맞지짱 지면네버 남진 그루세도다. 말아도 옴갱에 다 삼란댕에 아니 최정인지라 가르잖아. 아니 수수 칼라자에게 lunze소리 춘춘지지 뉴제 아니 초등견에 뉴뉴뉴세지 망보면데 망보에는 또 딜러 여부기는 망보 뒤죽간가 된 로샤거와 잘 망보잖아. 어다 때니지 마도 아니 배 수수 권라 권이나 배 직보때네 매야지 같이 수수 미카야지 뭐도 아니 Tulotus. Kazibutini na yami kumada chungundani kere nyangayarwa. Sosola. Oda tusini. Kanchi kumada chungumi kere tulotus zibumeji. Kanchi remboji guguarese ta swateni at remboji tenguarese sunguare.
Rinpoche.
Rembo.
Yep. And so now in the next verse, in verse number 28, as we mentioned before, within these six, one of them is these 6 points, one of them attends to our food and our sustenance. And in this particular verse, speaking about our sustenance and the things that we, like the different things that we bring to set up our space. they should simply be sufficient, and not too much, not too fine, and not too over the top. Because when you go to a place to meditate or to practice or to enter into a retreat, actually less is more. So really you want to have the minimum, the minimum of food and the minimum of like your different things and items that you're bringing with you should really be kept to a minimum. And here it says in the text, when might I be free of fear without the need to hide from anyone, with just a begging bowl and a few belongings, dressed in garments coveted by none? And so we should bring, very few items, but also they should be just very modest items. We would not want to be bringing anything fancy or wearing anything fancy that others actually might want, because then there is the possibility of robbers or bandits then attracted to that. So we want to really just keep things just to the bare minimum and suitable. So just modest clothes and modest food, nothing that would pique the interest of anyone else, but that would satisfy our needs.
Tulo inanda yuchala zikbuya no kuma yungurwa. Nimachi jizumila reba kuma lebre kuma. Kuma lete mila rebe tatina zago chapojimata zago chimata keke yomarwa. Any kuma yonde pombogu naldu singudugala mila reba jemushore ugodere. Kyo kare gujindus. Any mila rebe ninimutana rago mar ketsemutana kavara grisumre.
Kong chikmatok yomare kare kongi
zagoj zama sumatsoya zamaj made yomarwa.
Oh, lasso. And so again, it's really where we wouldn't want to bring anything attractive or impressive or fancy, state-of-the-art or anything like that, because it would attract, actually, it would attract, people that, are looking to steal and rob. And so there was this story from the time when Milarepa was meditating, and actually all Milarepa had was his single bowl that he used for his food. That's all he had. He brought nothing else with him. And so then a robber came, someone came to check it out, to kind of, scope out the scene and see what he had. And then, they were just kind of hanging around, and he said, if this is all you're going to get by robbing me by day, don't expect that you're going to get anything more than this by robbing me at night. This is all I have.
Teni yang ndunji chego.
Oh, las.
Ta kanje mi bög kuta chige. Bög kuta chige jizumila ge namthar logore. Namthar londa da jizumile sichila kale kyamne sichila sanke kopon tuya yoba teni shibu jisum yodi yorwa. Jizumile namthar nala. Ani sanke kopon tuya ani pe semla jide yoba semla Rengam yoba shibu jisum digala kupe namthar loni kibu shibu chungre de kuta de.
Ani kudra sena?
Pope kuta zenata junja pare leche.
Oh, lasso.
Mazo ina officer tende.
Oh, lasso.
Government officer tende.
Oh, lasso.
Ani ko tende che de ani ko tape ko be jizumila na jinji no gom kya kan dogin labre. Dogin la de ta tropo dan koran langmo sheba yang chuba tende mangpo ko labje gere tende chigi omares. Til gom kya tende ro chocho le labu kana yo marangazo tape zumbo kale pe so kibu shibulin der lemsa kale kepkan rogan jona kale khagres ten chigi omar labre ko pe ngenjung fusi de jike Any that the mandona tap means and rogajari. Rogaje, any pagis on the that rin then any be Kaligya Maman Kibushu Chindegenji, Lemsang, then the Dubut Chetumarwa. Kaligya Tumarwa. And
Kongla, di Kongla, and he did.
Koron Popi Kutarwa, Pe, your bookul, Twakibu, Chindegenji Mijira. And it's Milana Jintenegom Gad and Be, Twakibu, Twalabe, the Nijin, Detumarwa.
Oh, Kong, I mean, did
Detumar is a good trouble to Labre.
Oh, really?
And you could you Chalakanga Mingosha Tepe, Yaman Jimba Tankanga, Kupang, some Chinrosare. And Donny Pagin to that, then Gomjagi, Tunjan Shirayomara, showing a money, Kibuchi Changomara. Any Kalite, any Jigupe, that Rini Pamni, Anchor Lodiore. Any quicker labre. Jizim Milal Pangon, the Ganga Pangons, the son labre.
Conducti Yapoko Sumas.
Mila Pangon. Mila Yuyomara.
Really?
You may in Sanko Pangon Radiora.
Oh, Lasana.
Any Mila Pangon, the Ganga Pangons, the son labre. In you Korange, so much Mashivara. And it's your Mareserwa. So when Chugging things and Lemnani, Rindrona, Rogan things, then roar mother, Tagal, Jimila Danepe, Mameki Butamba Chena Jinjing, as Chetuya Cabore. Can't it Susula Remba Chuche at the Pepe Kitchen Morta?
Oh, Lasso. And so also there was this story from long ago in the Perla, Geshe Perla was in Tibet. And there was this government officer, and he began to read about the life story of Milarepa. And he was reading about Milarepa, how Milarepa dedicated his life and his practice, and he went to the mountains and he practiced and he accomplished the state of Buddhahood and established himself in great peace and happiness. He was so inspired from reading this life story of Milarepa that he said, I'm going to go do that. And he decided, I'm also going to go do that. It sounds really great to be on the mountain and to be meditating and then to have peace and happiness. I'm definitely, this is for me. And so he went and he sought the advice of many lamas and other officials and other practitioners and people. And they all said, actually, they advised him not to do that. You should not do that, actually. Because although you might be happy for a little while, it might feel like a good idea for a little while, actually is very, very difficult. And after a while, you won't be happy. It won't be good. And so you shouldn't, really do that. And he said, well, at the time, he really had great renunciation, actually, and he really wanted to renounce the worldly ways. And he said, unless I go to the mountain with nothing, like Milarepa, then I won't be happy. I won't be able to, be happy. I'm going to do it. And so he sold his things, or he gave away his things. He gave everything away. Everything that he had, he gave away. And there he went alone to the mountain. And actually, it was very, very hard. And, Jetsun Milarepa, had nothing. He was like a beggar. But he had his practice. And this official, actually, he went to the mountain to meditate, but actually it was very, very difficult and he couldn't stay. And when he went back, he was even more of a beggar than, Milarepa was. He had absolutely nothing. And so we should really take some caution in that story, because it is very important that we have inspiration and interest in doing this, but we should also be prudent, and we should bring with us, things to sustain us that, which are suitable to sustain us. So we also have to, use some common sense here as well.
다 니슈 서구받으러 다 텔라 다 소설 subject 지바들 소설도 봐 소설도 어서다 류라 다제제당 돌라 다제제데 니 생숭거래 다디 류라 차pen님볼라 소설도 봐스 당하는저 류라 진짜 시부지 레그와 소설 류데 텔라네 다네 네베 진짜 미키야다 진짜 판고야지 대순거래
몰랐어.
다 주주선에 젠다기스 루콘다던 자글리 지베치진 다도니 남지 고뇽 제파기루스 순데 다가르자 수술리데다 미다 베란진지 차대로 그런 로겐지 차대로와 대단 수술리데 단다 수술리데당 엔투틀레 연대기네 미시교인 미나 심진 수시나 데 루공지로 지기 샤메교 루공이 돈달라 집바레 라브레
카리 치코레
수수 루이데당 엔 투틀레 연대기네 루고데니 미타바 임바 집바레 라레
오리
자바케 오마레 미타바 임바 집바레 라레
라서 아하
미다바임바 만남시나 ngazu시네 ngazu디 샤 빠바드지나데 칼칼칼 때나 주고도 루곤데 때나 겐루나 진규라긴 규라 차디어와 몬주네 겐루 ngazu 루데 겐루 마음바나 차야로와 대조 삼단에 네베 데데 겐루데당 수술리데 나보레 선데 차제미게 아텐데 삼단와데 개침보리 라겨래 간지
And now we're
tindichene pe kanji thamade rang lui la chajmi kya yani ngai lui la gyorwa ngonjana lui de ngone ngoma taje jana ngacho komsone ngai lui chabar ma do yungma de phame khutarwa ani karjora ripa kang lepasumne phai khwele thin tubare.
Oh, that's what that gonda kisla kale surunang lepadang
lepa riva kang man meru yara kang sumde phai khwel ten tubare sha pakpa thasum mail dasen ten tubare jesan li singli this tubul zurdu li jidi yomarwa di phame khutal ten tubdigala rang marwa 파메로와 아니 곰소는 네 루이즈데 제티치고와 곰병원게 송원에 전화 네 루이즈데 나세데 네 루이즈가 와도는 지리지 코나미다 어다도 수간지 유응원이 따데 아니 배 차진 게미로아지다 아니 그럼 마음바나 뭐 줄네 그리 차에 임바지 로게다는 수술리된 근루차그로와 로게다니 야다징이지나라 근루차그로와 아니 둘레 근루다다 수술리된 근루 좀보 근루 누기니 뭐지 버려도와 뭐다 두스 간지 루이라 차진 미게 섬당 거래스 거래
So now into our next point, which is the focus on the analyzation of one's own form, one's body, this body. So this body that actually, due to our habituation and this life's experience, we create a lot of fixation and attachment to. and is said that actually we need to abandon identifying with and fixation to this form. And now it says in the text, in verse number 29, and going to the charnel ground, when shall I compare my body with the dry bones there, so soon to fall to nothing, all alike? And so actually, when we go to the charnel grounds, this crematorium, the place where all of the corpses rot and turn to skeletons, actually, we are to go there and meditate in this place. We see the skeletons actually, and this very present body, we should understand, is no different from the skeletons that lie in the charnel grounds. And actually, this very body that we presently have, this flesh, once it's a corpse, it rots, it changes in a way that actually decomposes, and then we come down to nothing but a skeleton left. And actually, the point here is that this very present form is no different from that deceased skeleton. It's actually one and the same. And also, we deem this my body. We identify with this as my body, but actually, this isn't really one's body. It is something that was your parents. This came from your parents, from the bodies of your parents, from the white and the red seeds of your parents, and the brain and the bones and the marrow is said to have come from the father's semen, and the flesh and the flesh and the skin and the blood have come from the seed of the mother, from the ovum of the mother. And so actually this form is not established as oneself. If you think about it and analyze it, this form are the parts of your mother and father. That's what this form is. But through just the habituation of identifying with it as me, as my body, as clinging to identifying a self within it, that is you, that is me, this is my body. Actually, it's not the case. It is just a conglomeration of parts from the white and red seeds of your mother and father. And not only that, what we do have now in this physical body will be no different. It will age and become old, and it will become a corpse, and then it will become a skeleton. And so these are things that we need to think about, because this is how we can then also abandon clinging and attachment to it, when we realize that there is no my body, and that it is just like the skeleton in the graveyard.
다도 스삼다 백게 전부도와 담마다 파마 니 야샤베 리디 니인즈라고라 한바 타부지네 오늘 저나 뭐말 소스 리데미도 어때서 삼단다 도신 간제 도수 삼단에 위라 차제 마케 그 도시 중에나 녀몽슈 충도고와 다스 기세메데 균 순고가 말아
Really, yeah. So the other thing is we look at this as my body. This is my body now. But actually all this is pieces and parts that came from the past, causes that came together from the past. All it is the past being played forward. It is not your body. It is something from past causes that have come together. So it's really a form of the past, if anything at all. And not only that, when we say mine, so after we attribute that this is our body, then we call it mine, that we own it, this is ours. And due to that, all of the other afflictive emotions, all kinds of emotions, negative emotions are based on that, thinking that it's mine. It all comes from that thought of this is mine, the thought of an I.
다양한 주대 숨주바데 발자를 루이 랑 루이데 루 밤발로서 봐. 아니 시외로다 때네 삼루다나야 찾음이게 대순거 대세. 라그 루니 니니짱 라그 티 와타짱 중도 년로 민주로와 대사পু네 민주와웅 세다다 랑 미장의 루이디 아니 신의 룰바차네 타마 와단 때내게 미코레야지 차그레스 지마카나도 와제게 자그마라 와모당 때내게 미코레야지 차그레스 근데다 때내게 라진진지 루이지라 아니 차바키야 가른도 구세 숨고 왔다 땡와만 말해도 와.
So then also now this body, this material that we have here of this form, also in verse number 30 speaks about the nature of this body and gives us also ways to work with not being attached to it. Where verse number 30 says, this form of mind, this very flesh, is soon to give out such a stench that even jackals won't come close, and that indeed is all it will become. So this material body that has come from these past causes actually is really made up of a lot of filthy, impure substances. And actually, after we die, the body begins to rot, and it gives off such a disgusting stench that it's repulsive. People come close and cover their noses. The smell becomes so repulsive. And even, animals that like to feed on carrion and so forth, such as jackals, don't want anything to do with it. And so this is our body. And look, we love it so much. Why is that? It is, really, if we look at these words, these words are very much truth. And we can really ask ourselves, why is it that we're so attached and love it so much?
Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Tining Gumpatazo, any do Sungdoa, Yorm Sungdoa, any Burma, Tinik Gumpatazo Pedigala, Lemsam Shivi Roji, any Gwen Melon Tayandos, who Tadugala, Lemsam Shitsarka Roji, Shinima Kashesungya Roji, Dinishini Nima Mombo Sungero, Lui, and 두실 다 가르선 두실 따야지 두스 따두가라 아니 이 반랑 리디앙 베직 차바메케 랑 리디앙 된다 윤그레 임바 두스제네니 같이 최라 굴리하게 탑시로 와 리템바냐 버자 바즈도 두스제네 그 15개 첨보래 맞아 이 맞아 15주 리를 찾은 제대제야 돼 다 리는 나사주나 맨 맞아서 라고 말다 이네 수가가래 윤댕이 리를 찾은 지네 너무 공패도 당해야 돼 지기어 말이라고 그래.
And so so this body that just becomes rotten and decays, in these verses here, we are examining, having a mindfulness of our own form. Ani dene de sumchu so chik yang ani lona tanda?
Sochi da tere tanda lo marine
Oh, la
dachile
so. Okay.
chapa miri
Jela.
padare. Jela.
Jela. Okay. And so, and actually, for the bodies that are brought to be buried or to be cremated after they die, actually the undertakers and so forth have really noted the process of what happens to the body after it dies. For example, using what's it called? The photography where you can watch it one day and the next day and next day, like time-lapse photography. And also His Holiness the Dalai Lama speaks about this. So you can watch what happens with the body, like with a magnifying glass or microscope, and watch what happens to the body, what happens after one day. It's like, still stays like this, and the next day the decaying process begins, and the third day it becomes like this, and after a few days, it's really just goes into complete decomposition. And so therefore, why are we attached to this form? So it's really important that we look at it like this, to give up attachment to this form, to lose our attachment to this form. And it's really, really most important, because we can become very obsessed and interested and consumed with attachment to this body. And that's not saying that we shouldn't take care of our health. So Geshe-la says he's not saying this, and also the other, science and so forth is not saying don't take care of your body when it's alive, but do understand what it is, and take care that you don't regard it in a way or get obsessed with it in a way that causes you to have, to be, obsessed or neurotic.
Tinala Lensang Shimatabe Rode, Shimatabe Lude Tondo, Rosing the Chabarwa. Then Nimachi Nicheda, and Lu Pamba sing the Chabare. Those and Don Gurgore. And Nimadundaji ching the Royans, they Lu Mombocha Nipe, Royans in the Chadware. Lu Shidigala, Surade, Toso, Lu Temper Nyavajada, similar, some sort of Shibuchu Chumbolega that they. Kanche talent that nyamnin tana ndu sungdwa yaur mujhe talent gombatende phep digala oda gombe dobjal ne ndu chik tadigala be dus tadigala otende ge roja chandu sungdu
la so di gom thapre pe sen
gombe thapre lu temba nyaja tu ge thapshere
oh la so la so so actually this is a form of meditation, and that's what Geshe was trying to get at, which I didn't pick up, that they use, like this, like a looking glass to actually meditate on what's happening to the body in the cremation ground. So they'll look at it in one day and say, oh, how does it look? Oh, on this day, day number 1, well, it still has form. It looks like a body. Day number 2, it's beginning to look, it's turning blue. Day number 3, it's beginning to rot. And so actually this is a meditation technique that is designed to give one a new perspective on the reality of what this aggregate of form really is.
디 니게 랑게 루라 때네 아니 잡아메리 와서 대시거래 다 뒤쳐서 자 이제
And so this finishes up that section on mindfulness of one's own body, really being mindful and examining what exactly this physical form that we tend to be very fixated on and how to give up that fixation. And we're out of time, but Geshe says, please feel free to ask a question if you have.
I have two quick questions, Dianne.
Okay.
For you, could you please repeat the three elements that come from the mother and the three from the father? You said sha pak chak from the mother, blood, skin, and flesh.
ngalje come to den lagorwa ngalje come to den phale kar kam sumre rugo lepa kangsum phale tube rugo
marrow
rugo kang and lepa sumdre
so bones brain and marrow come from the white drop of the father, come from the from the side of the father.
Ani malik mai kamne tube ani sha pakpa tha sumdre.
And the elements that come from the mother are flesh, skin, and blood.
Te ngalche come to den lagore.
Ngal
ke ba come to dan mas.
Okay.
Come to.
These are the
kar kam sum na mar kam sum de tere.
Yeah. So these are the three whites and three reds of the father, and or the six substances that established in the womb.
Okay, and the next question I have is real quick for Geshe, the six conditions that we're talking about for meditation. Tumpeyu dipechunwa cho shepa la sopa direve. Yeah, Tumpeyu dipechunwa cho shepa jamangpang sutrim dakpa namtopang. Okay, I posted those in the chat for everyone. I want to make sure that they were correct before I told everybody, but they're there.
Okay.
술팀 따서 술팀데 메기 주고 술팀 됐다죠.
La.
술팀 따봤어야 돼. 메기 주고 술팀.
And which text did it come from?
Do it again.
Oh, okay, the ornament of the sutras.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's Jema. Not so.
I have a question.
Okay, so Laura has a question. Also,
Yeah, okay.
I see in the text chat there's a question. But Laura, why don't you go first?
Okay. I wanted to ask if Geshe has advice about what to use as the object of meditation, such as the breath, such as awareness, such as the mind itself.
Ani dene shine drupe kapsu ani ngatso di mikpe yul ani kare mikpa kare la mikpa ke gore ngatso di ukya pade yamena di yul shanda kundra tanka kare la ani mikpe yul ani kande.
Chirna jine tampo tumne pe le tampo ngone ingenjela susu 가야게 수수문에 삼라 가서 가보 인생에 미대 다 된지 주나 리고 어래 아니 우레체바이나 수수 우당 리단 대화여 인상 텔레 셈네라 시달레라요레 수수무도아 우강라 쩌난디고 어래 아니 서로 강라 쩌난디고 어래 리소르데 수수단 대화여와 둘레라요레 약쇼데 가려어르잖아. 덤베 구춘춘지 저거 차보지. 오메이나 소놈 사야당. 넌 수수 때배섭게 되가라 셈내야라양 기발 전부 열라고.
So in the beginning, when you're first beginning to meditate, for beginners, the most important thing to do is to use an object that is very inspirational for you, whatever it is, something you feel very connected to and inspired by. For beginners, that's the most important thing. That's where you start. The benefit of using the breath is it's with us wherever we go. We have it wherever we go. Then the body and breath are also very connected. Physical and mental are very connected. So meditating on the breath is another good option. Also, if you are more sensorial rather than visual, the feeling of the body, some feeling of the body, you could meditate and have like a presence of awareness on what feelings are happening and sensations are happening in the body. That's another option. And Geshe says, ultimately the very best option is a little form of the Buddha, a little statue or form of the Buddha. Something that is very, very heavy, actually, so that something that has some density to it and heaviness to it, but very small. Ani Geshe di kundra di pena ani di yakshu di sangegi kundra di yeki turpe kundra yamena ngune.
Di karchuna ni gore, kebari omare.
And so
춘추 사로제야 돼. 미대 가서 중이나 사차첼리 gore. 할 후지고 사고 고매야 돼. 오빠째야 춘제래. 오빠째기 gore. 지고 사고되게 오빠. 아니 새로되게 지와째기 gore. 아니 그 대인들가 강제 곰스인데 지고째 또 지고 맞지나 공명해요 말에. 아니 누스 미좀대다 힘이 야 타진 되기도. 지고째고 와도 빼 미스럽게 쳐버려. 지고째야 돼. 내가 니 또때 텐션이지. 템바다 시진이지.
Troa.
또 로과 너 곰그 튕긴 소리인데.
Tunken di
템바다 시진 때야.
lasso.
아니 갈긴 지고째고. 지고 오빠 렘도 민도 땅인데 아니 지마로 시진기 자라치기로 와. 시진도 지금도 소바존이지래. 템바싱인데 폴리존데. 간지샘 대갈은 미대갈은 샘네디면나 이 시진기 자라치 네메바 하고에나 템베니 양교 미대대갈 자고로 와. 뺏게 첨버리대.
So in regards to, as Geshe was saying, in best case scenario, we use a form of the Buddha. And so I asked if it was an actual statue or could it also be a visualized little Buddha that's very heavy. And Geshe said either one is fine. And if we're actually, the smaller it is, establishes a vivid clarity in our meditation. And this vivid clarity is something that helps us to ward off di selcha di gopa kinyampo e. Jingwa.
하장 누다고와. 어떻게
selcha
하장 새로되게 살보되게 살보빼 되게 진화제 이거 살보되게 고빠제 거래.
So having it very small, then we're very clear because we have to really stay pinpointed on holding our visualization. So it holds us to a vivid clarity. And also that fights off dullness and sinking, getting sleepy and lethargic. The heaviness part of it wards off being distracted and an overactive mind, an agitated, overactive mind. So really heavy, really grounded. It keeps you in place, whereas the smallness of it keeps it vividly clear. So, both of these are very important. And it could be either mentally visualized or an actual statue, Geshe said. And said that really an object of, like a divine object like the Buddha, this is something that is a meritorious object and something that we can also have faith towards. So it establishes like a feeling of faith that allows us to really settle in to that object. So then also when you are meditating on any of these, again, a reminder that we should be focused but aware. So, we want to have focus, but we also want to have an awareness, like a vigilance, like that watchful eye that sees, has the mind strayed, or is the mind just getting sleepy, and it readjusts it, it modifies it. And so it's really, really important because, and especially this vigilant part, the aspect that is mindful about whether or not one has become drowsy. Because if not, you won't even know that your mind needs to be modified or replaced on the object. Did that answer your question, Laura?
Sorry. Yes, I think so. I think I'm also asking about some of the other practices where it's not just shamatha, but it's also taking the mind as the path, where you're...
Like Vipassana?
Yeah. Well,
or,
no.
Okay.
It's a combination of shamatha and vipassana, I think. So it's like
Mahamudra.
watching what comes up in the mind and not getting attached to it. And then
yeah. Okay, Pelche dire ani Geshe la pena tam di Dzogpa Chambola ani lapkiore pena dine namto chik sharne dine dela ani matrana samlomatang jesu matrang dine rangsar ani drogiore. Pelcher ani gomtang di yang pena not so di semla kare shana yang ani dela samlomatang dela jesu matrang dine rangshingi ani drol.
Sati similar maybe jine to now the next war.
Oh, laso.
Namdo ngama ka cheba de samlomatang chimayongi sam namdo de ka. Any some kono salsa kono salji pata teaching any to sini home go wara.
So
vision to not it that the topaganga ka.
Yeah. Yes, so Geshe said that is taking the mind as the object of one's meditation. And so, like, your yandi takche che yomare.
Midi rang semjene ta ngama kang toba yogen ka ore.
Laso. Yandi gomtangi ming di semla
mi bijine labre de la.
Semla, okay.
Indu ta te do chajen da zochen ge ngondo zo jire.
So in this taking the mind, resting in, or taking the mind as one's meditation, Geshe said the method for doing, so that's what you're talking about, because I explained what you said. And Geshe said that in this kind of meditation, what we're doing is we are taking the mind as our focus, and especially making sure that we're attending to no previous thought, nor projecting any thought, or not attending to what thought might come up next, but actually staying in the very space in between thoughts. A place where the last thought has ended and the next thought has not begun, and we stay in that place. And
awareness.
In awareness, no thought. And he also, Geshe said that in the practices of Mahamudra and the Great Perfection, this is a technique that is used in Mahamudra and Dzogchen, Great Perfection. Did that answer?
And
so you're resting in the vivid clarity of the place where you are, all past thoughts have ceased and they're kept at bay. All future thoughts have not yet arisen and are kept at bay. And you rest in the vivid clarity of what that experience is, when all of the past thoughts have stopped and all of the future thoughts have not arisen. And that is a place of vivid, vivid clarity. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama speaks about a great master actually who was practicing this meditation of resting in the mind, the meditation on the mind, and where this master actually, in the state of abiding in the place where past thoughts have ended and future thoughts have not begun, he was able to perceive all of his past lives. He had the clairvoyance to see his past lives and to see what the future lives would be. And so when you take the mind as the object, so when you do meditation on the nature of mind, then clairvoyance can be established.
If everyone gets a chance to watch Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor's TED Talk, she's a neuroanatomist who had a stroke. The TED Talk is called My Stroke of Insight. And she talks about a hemorrhage that shut down her entire left hemisphere. And so all past and future data was gone. And only the right hemisphere, which is mostly concerned with this moment and processing parallel functions at the same time. It's very interesting. I think everyone would find it relevant to what we're talking about. I think there's something here that even contemplative scientists would find interesting in these resultant states that Geshe and Dalai Lama and so on talk about.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think it does. I think her experience does definitely parallel what meditators doing that type of practice
That
report.
Bloomington, that woman,
Bloomington,
Dr. Jerry Friend.
it might be. I think she
Yeah.
did work in Bloomington too. Yeah.
오늘 어디라도 내려서를 정도 아유 배 아무도 돼서.
Oh, yeah.
아메리카나 마부 정도 왔더니.
Actually, this is...
남파 사이에 비 세교다. 대소 영화 중계나 대 체리밥 남제친 체리밥 대소에 니제게 따다 퉁거로 왔. 빼미서 야버다.
And Geshe said that, you know, these kinds of experiences have happened in America quite a bit, actually. And what they point to, and it's just science catching up with what the Buddha taught so long ago, that modern science is just catching up with it and illustrating that which the Buddha taught more than 2,500 years ago. Science is showing it now today. That's what they're finding out.
나선 대로도 저거 단다 어디 블루민튼 보무질 중도 때 찍찍찍 나선 대로를 중요해. 나서 공공자 된 아마 대로 파르토니 치다 치시라 아파트네 나스 나우마체 버르데 인사래 인그란다. 파르토 나와 차나
shine badula lepten
어떤데 지금 거. 나선 대로서 돼. 아마다 죽는 거래. 나서 공부문서 돼.
Oh, lasso. Yeah, and so there's a collection actually of a collection of these experiences that has been written about, because it happens actually, you know, it has happened frequently when people have passed away, have died, entered the transitory experience, and then come back to life and then write about it. And so there's actually, so that one of the stories comes from a woman in Bloomington, but I guess there's a compilation of some of these episodes and stories. Also, Matt had a question, Geshe. Matt's question, let's see, let's go. Tuktam, di tuktam ki kolere. Ani arila di tuktam drupken ki drup denso ki korla chiksungro nang arila tuktam drupken.
When the Karmapa passed away in Illinois, like if a High Lama passes away, like is that considered a blessed place? Like if they stay in Tukdam? Like we think of, like for me, when I hear about these, I think of all these places that are like in India or China or Tibet that are blessed by these past masters. And you don't normally think of America as, you know, place where there's a lot of blessings because the Dharma is so new here. And so I've always wondered when I've read that, does that mean that they've come and done like a puja for the land? Does that mean that's where they've stayed and they've practiced and they've had attainments or gotten enlightenment? You know, I don't know what is meant by that text. But to me, like I think of Tukdam as something like really, really high and this big attainment. And does that make that area blessed if a Lama passes away there?
Okay, di re Geshe kirang di sumbayimba tene ngato di shine drupya ne denso ngato di ne sa chempo di jinlap chempo gi sachala ne nangshin ani drona di yapotsigi ore ngoma Karmapa ari la ani tuktam ani drupare di latene sachadela tuktam drupe sachadela ne sachempo tsigiyana.
대단하와. 아때 델라 Karmapa 딱 그런 우연 딜레도 주겠대. 야르게다는 최된다. 되는 장은 지지기도 와. 대지기도 우연 딜레도 주겠대. 장야기 처리도. 얘도 사정으로. 그래. 다 두담생인데 또 맞아. 다다 샘 타무지어와. Numism de la Gomgani, Numism de Gala Nende Gorda. Sem Rapangasar, Wampul Tembe Sim to Zonga, and some Tamu the Todun Lula Nedior. The Deputy Senge to them the Lanyam Koi Taja Mambutane, the Mandashin to the Koi Lagar. A Geshizoba Jing Le Pen and Koi Taja Tandwa.
Then they took down your pickups to young Nuxam.
Newsome Tamu the Galata de Gore. Oh, Shazog in Yaman Tamuni, Yaman Tumbu Menati, Galande to your Cabore.
Oh, so Richie Sue,
David Richardson.
Oh, David Richardson.
Oh, go the to them like Pagi Tajitang and Doctor Koran neuroscientist Redo. Could Mandaj do Gordy.
So Matt, to answer your question, Geshe said absolutely the place where the Karmapa achieved Tukdam would indeed be considered a blessed and very holy place. And there is a stupa there as well, or he's maybe enshrined in the stupa. So yes, that would be considered a holy place.
Okay,
the stupa stupa that was made by the present Karmapa organ Trinley, the Karmapa organ Trinley, Trinley Dorje. So he is interred in there, and so very, very holy, blessed place. And just a little more on that, in terms of what Tukdam actually is. And so in case there's anyone who, I'm using that term, but in case there's anyone new that doesn't understand what that term means, I'll just add this myself. Tukdam is something that is achieved once. It appears from all outer appearances that a person has passed away, and yet, and even scientifically, they'll say no heartbeat. The person is clinically dead. However, there's no decay, the body doesn't change, there's no smell, and they can stay in this way, for, looking live actually for a very long time. And Geshe said what's happening here is, so we have what's called the very, very, very subtle mind. This is the stream of consciousness that is completely free of any coarse conceptions. Even all of the sense faculties have come to stop. So when we rest in the nature of mind, actually in the subtle nature of mind, all of course thinking has stopped. Even the sense faculties have receded. One is resting just in pure mind consciousness. And that's actually, this meditation. And so there is a researcher, Richard Davidson or David Richardson, I'm not sure, but Richie Davidson, and he's actually someone who specializes in studying this Tukdam, what it is, what's happening when, these great, usually a great meditator can achieve this. And what Richie Davidson has been able to find is that there is an ongoing meditation in that state, meditating in that fine, subtle mind is still occurring, even though the body appears to, all of the other processes appear to have been shut down or ceased.
Sure, so motor gorwa. That sure so to the Galandesha, the Galatape, Shibuji, Pentochimbu Gora. That is a Mizella Chuo, some motor back cover. Pardonan
Chia Osel Chia.
Chua. Shigalagalo Oseling motor.
Shiwagi also, yeah.
Chua Osel. Porto Osel.
Yeah.
Any Milam Josel, the Josel, Mutake Kokata Mambuore. Inant Tape, me one compayun denge, Shirag and Yaman said to boy, the Lila was Mutake Kabura.
So to actually be introduced to clear light luminosity, there are a few opportunities that we have to realize clear light luminosity. And one of them is one of the opportunities we have to realize it, to be introduced to it, which means to meet with it directly, recognizing it, is at the time of death, at the time of the bardo, at the time of dreaming. So there are different opportunities we have. It's not easy to recognize clear light luminosity, and it is for those who have high levels of meditation, very, very experienced in meditation, who can meet with clear light luminosity.
Shikalagal home gagin shigin, Samutan de Tichana, Chichini on Yagayore.
La Karikinenka.
Shikalagal home genishigins and the Kunum Pempatan dena, it was on water in Yagayas.
So actually, when you're dying, if you take that as an opportunity to say, I am now going to realize clear light luminosity of death, that's there. I guess it's kind of a funny phrase in Tibetan. There is the danger of that opportunity arising.
Yeah. Now, okay. Oh, choose 2% on the Honda. Sorry, let. Coming let, also stop let. Yeah.
Yeah, Geshe says he's sorry, it's already 6 o'clock. He went over.
Kundo Zambo Teon Tejinte, Tata Kungi Shosodalo, Gawandita, Tamje Raptu No, to Sum Shepi Yawa, Tamje King, Kanla Chotong, Tajenge, Tawan, De Kunja Zambo Church Raptu, Wariki.
In the land encircled by snow white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefit flows in your person, Chenrezik Tenzin Gyatso, remain until samsara ends. Just as the Buddha, Bodhisattva Manjushri obtained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, so now I dedicate these merits to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of the past, present, and future praise dedication as supreme, so now I too dedicate these sources of my merit for all beings to perfect good actions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dianne.